Hi guys, welcome back to Young and Ambitious in Africa. My name is Jagendungo and I am your host of the day and of course of the series Conversations with Changemakers. So in today's episode, we're going to have a conversation with Khalid Ismail, the founder of Byte. And before we jump into that, you guys do remember to like the video, share it with your friends, and also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get an update each time we upload a new video. So, welcome to the show, Khalif.
Thank you for having me here, Njaji. It's a pleasure to be here.
The pleasure. The pleasure is all mine. So, Khalif, just a short introduction, is the CEO and co founder of Byte, which I will let him introduce. And Khalif, maybe you can just tell us a bit about yourself before we jump into the conversation around Byte.
Oh, great. So, my name is Khalid Ismail. I'm the CEO of Byte. So, a bit about me. I
Yeah.
have background in software engineering. Been a software engineer for over 5 years now. I've worked with companies like Haga and some other global companies before I started Byte back in 2020. And the rest was history.
Yeah, yeah. 2020, when most people in tech right now started their journey. So maybe I'm just curious, why did you decide to jump into software engineering?
Yeah, I would say I always had passion for computers, right? Even back when I was 10 years or 7 years, I've always
Mm,
loved interacting with, electronics and softwares. And that led me to, in 2018, choosing a course to go learn or to go have degree in computer science, which at the end I had to
mm,
drop out of college to move forward with my career in terms of getting to learn software engineering or getting to learn coding on my own back in 2018 due to,
yeah,
how the school system is structured. I didn't like the process. So I just decided, oh, I'm kind of wasting my time here. So it's better I just drop out and go do something with my life. Just go learn something that, I'll be able to like really build cool something with, not just being in school and just writing theories. So that's how it all started.
yeah. And I saw that in your path, you were able to work as a freelance software engineer through Upwork. What are some of the ups and downs of working on such a platform? Given that
Yeah,
I think there's a bad perception of using your own image as an African when you're trying to get jobs as a freelancer.
yeah.
How
So
has your experience been?
fortunately for me, my experience is not that bad, unlike other people, because I think the first job I
Yeah.
got on Upwork was based on referral from someone on Facebook, right? So yeah, I think one of the ups and downs I had, starting my career as a freelancer is when I get denied on platforms like Upwork, Freelancers, or Fiverr, right? So I was able to find my way around
Mm,
that, trying to optimize my profile better and make it really good in such a way they're gonna accept my profile to be on Upwork. So once I got there, it was really hard for me to find jobs, right? So what do I resort to? I resort to what I know most, communities, right? So I was able to get myself into some communities, and from there, I was able to get some job from Upwork and, get a nice review and
mm.
referral. Or, I move on to a more full-time role back in 2020.
Yeah. And what would be maybe one thing that you can advise someone starting out with freelancing on such on either of the platforms that you mentioned? What is one thing that they should look out for?
Yeah, I think one of the things you should look out for is one, you can't get it all right from the start. right? So you have to make sure that you follow the
Mm.
best practices. You optimize your profile in such a way that is much more better or than you are competing with thousands of people, or should I say millions of people, right, on Upwork, and you
Yeah.
have to stand out. So you have to build something, or you have to make something, or make your profile stand out by making it, optimizing it to make to be better. With that way, you're able to get clients much easier and you get your Upwork career started.
Amazing, amazing. And now that you have transitioned, now that when you transitioned from freelancing and working on a full-time role, is there, would you say there's a difference between working for clients or working with clients in a freelance status versus having a full-time role as a software developer in terms of both money and the amount of work that you are able to get in?
Yeah, so I think working as a freelancer, all I just wanted to do back then was finding ways to support myself, right? Yeah, I'm working on some products that are
Yeah.
making some impact. However, getting a full-time job made me realize that, there's a lot for me to learn in areas of how do I work with team, right? How do I position
Mm,
myself as kind of like a leader amongst those people to build something or to make an impact in a product. So that way I was able to, really do something different than I should have done if I could have been freelancing. All right. So yeah,
Awesome. So then later on, you started Byte. Maybe you can just tell us the problem that you sought to address. I've been looking at your website and I was actually in the process of downloading the app before we started this interview. So I decided
amazing.
not to so that I can get the surprise factor after hearing
Exactly.
from you. So what is the problem that you guys identified?
Yeah, so Byte is not kind of like your typical startup, right? We didn't start
Mm,
with what we are doing right now. No matter of fact, we just figured out what we are doing like 7 months ago, back in July, right? So
yeah.
Byte started from a personal problem of mine. So back in 2018, I just got into school back then. I just got into college and I opened my account. I was 18 years back then. So those process of opening account, my mom went to send money to me. Unfortunately, I didn't receive that money. So I
Mm,
started, me as an, like, I used to think a lot. So I started saying down that, okay, so maybe there might be a lot of people now trying to send money like this. And maybe something urgent like, hospital bills or anything to commence operation or something in between. And they couldn't get this money transferred from one party to the other. Why does all money
mm,
have to pass through the traditional route? What if there's another way that money can be sent differently without those processes? However, for me, I don't know nothing about coding. I don't know how the financial service works. So I just let the idea down. So that brings me to 2020 when I was working at Paga. Just on the weekends, I just figured that, let me just build something like with a social media bot where I built a Facebook bot that helped me send money without the need of third parties, like, the NIBSS that, the processes that Nigeria banks or online fintech apps follow to send money. So I was able to build a bot within that Saturday. And from then, I was able to send money to my friends without those processes. So I'm able to send and receive money without any of those issues in between. So that's when I realized that, man, this thing
mm,
can be a platform, or should I say, it can be a company. Right, right then and there, I just decided that I'm quitting my job. I'm going all in, and that's how it started. Right, that's how we've been iterating the product for over a year plus. And in 2022, we struck gold. We've been interacting with customers. looking at areas we can improve our product. However, we've been able to identify that most of the businesses we serve, a lot of those businesses faces complication of scaling their business in a way that at the end of the day they have to close to say goodbye to the business or the ventures they are into. Why? Because there's no tools to support them. You know, opening a business account from bank take probably weeks or ages, and accessing credit is really really hard for them. So we step up to solve this problem with Byte Business, where we supercharge business growth by enabling them manage their day-to-day operation, accept digital payments, however their customer want to pay them, and easily access credit without complication. So yeah, we are currently live with about 1,000 businesses right now in Nigeria, and in 2022 we even
Mm.
paid out over $1.2 million in transaction, and that has been really
Wow.
massive since then. Yeah.
Wow. That people would say that's quite a huge number for the first few years of operation. So congratulations on that. Or am
Thank you.
I wrong with that one?
No, 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 no. That's really a huge number for us. We didn't even expect to do that in 2022, and we're able to exceed our expectations. So it's a huge win.
So you would say the product and the market have met that there has been a product market fit so far.
Yeah, super. Yeah, super. Yeah.
So so far so good. I know there is coming from a technology background myself, I know there are issues with integrating or rather creating platforms where financial transactions are happening. Since you're dealing with financial transactions, there's a lot of data that needs to be that a lot of data that is expected to be involved, like credit card information or whatever financial data that is sensitive. Has there been a challenge with protecting this data from what we would call hackers or bad or threats to the clients or
Mm,
businesses that you're working with?
no, we've never experienced that. For us, we work with the best
Mm,
partners out there to ensure our customers' data are safe and sound without it being
mm.
hijacked by any client or anything. So, everything is hashed from transporting to receiving end. So, I'll say for now we are good to go.
And I know there's a huge issue with hiring in tech, particularly in Africa, where the companies are competing against giants that are coming into the continent that have huge budgets when it comes to hiring. So has this been a challenge for you when it comes to looking for guys to create or help with the creation of your product, your website, or whatever you're working on?
Yeah, I'll say starting right, I really made some bad hires. Uh, Due
Mm.
to how the market is then, you hire today, tomorrow they are working on that company and all that in between. However, as we tend to grow, right, we realize that we need to find an efficient way to hire, which means we don't just go and just look for people. So we look for people with similar interests that are looking to grow with us on a long term and also build with us for a really long time, right? And these are the kind of people we've been able to hire. And those challenges that we faced back then was now, lower you know, compared to now.
Mm. Cyber threat. I've heard that there's a lot of threat actors that are going against, particularly in Nigeria, where people are trying to use platforms such as yours to defraud others of money. How do you protect guys from these kind of threats? Because fraud has been rampant across Africa, not just in Nigeria. So how do you protect people from using your platform to do bad things or do bad to people?
Yeah, so for us, we really take KYC as one of the top processes to vet the customer we are onboarding on Byte. So we follow the right guidelines, which means we're able to vet those people to know whether they are the right people for, there are people that say this is, they are who they are or who they say they are, right? So, from those
Mm,
areas, we've
mm.
been really, and companies like, Senchan, Doja, and all those things have been common lately, and they've been a lot of help to companies like ours.
I saw that you would you say that your company or your product has a social aspect of it in terms of would you call it, does one of your products involve social media, people interacting with each other?
No, that was when we offer consumer products, but not now. So when we offer,
Mm,
like I told you, there are a lot of situations, right? When we offer consumer products, we are able to consumers are able to interact with another customer, right? Moving forward, kind of like a social payment aspect. But however, when we move to, the buy
mm.
business aspect, it has been purely business to business and no interaction between those customers.
Amazing. So 2023 has been dubbed the year of artificial intelligence. I don't know how AI works for finance would I call it an FSP or a fintech? Let's call it a fintech.
Yeah.
I don't know how AI works for fintech, but how do you invent for finance and remain relevant where people are trying to use artificial intelligence to create other products that they look like products we make, but they're almost like they're finance products that are on steroids? How do you make sure that you do not fall to certain competitions that are implementing the best technology to make sure they have an advantage? Or are you the
Yeah.
competition that is using that technology?
So internally, we are already leveraging on AI to, build our credit facility, right? Like we said, we are building a really huge data warehouse, and credit, should I say, is one of the most important aspects. We are leveraging artificial intelligence to help better shape customer data and help them make sense of it. So, yeah, we're already
Mm,
leveraging it.
yeah. I also understand that you you also do not want to share too much about the things that you're working on.
Exactly.
I'm sure yeah, I'm sure you have definitely come across this on your path to creating Byte or in your path as a software engineer, but there's a huge gap between people that are in jobs and the people that are unemployed. So did you at any point suffer when you decided that you're going to quit your job to start this company? Was that process hard? Would you call that how do you call it? Would you call that period that people call the entrepreneurship hardship moment? Was How was that for you? Did you ever think of
Yeah,
going back into employment?
I passed through a lot of stages, within those 3 years. So, when I started, no money, no investor money or anything, just from my savings, and I went all in, right? So,
Mm,
it was really hard at some point that I just think of quitting, but I have one thing. Quitting is not an option for me. So I had to keep going because I believe that things are going to be better. Unfortunately enough, I have the right team, or should I say the best team out there, because they were able to support through all those processes and were able to prevail together.
How do you keep your excuse me? How then do you keep your team motivated? Because at times it's hard for it's hard for the team to stay motivated when they are going through the struggles as opposed to you as the innovator or the inventor. You are definitely more motivated than the team. Then how do you transfer this motivation or this energy into the team?
Yeah, so I talk about the type of people we hire. We hire people based on similar interests, right? So what I was able to do to, I was able, as a leader, I was able to like use my actions to motivate those team members. I was able to like create a scenario, paint the big picture on them that, you know, we're not giving up. We still have, a mile away to reach. We still have, that journey. We still have Horizon 3, those journeys to reach, right? So, I'm able to give
Mm.
them, what our vision looks like and how every one of us is important to execute this vision. And, it keeps us motivated every day because we realize that every single day we are making impact in the businesses that we have. We're able to supercharge their growth. Today they did this, tomorrow they are doing better. And it's all thanks to, what we've created. So it's a big motivation for us to keep on going, even if we are seeing some rough edges or patches.
So when you were studying or going to college, you mentioned something about you had to drop out.
Yeah.
Now, I've been of the opinion that there's a huge overemphasis of theory in technological courses across universities and colleges in Africa. I can't speak for the globe, but I understand that in Africa, it's a it's a region-wide problem that we're having where universities, let's say in technology, if they want to teach practicality, when they're projecting their information on the board, they are showing information that's already outdated, or they're asking you to write code on paper during examinations, as opposed to actually working on a project that you can showcase and then it can be graded or whatever way that they can use that to succeed in tech. So what do you think of this problem and what do you think we can do to address such an issue?
Yeah, I really think it's a huge problem. I have it on
Hmm.
my list to one day find a way to solve these kind of problems, right? The curriculum sometimes is just so outdated. You know, while the West is far ahead of us, we are still, looming in the darkness. We are still looming in the past. And
Hmm.
that's really, disheartening. So imagine I finished school. So I will have finished school by this time today, right, this year or something like that. So I'll just finish school now and I realized that in the real world, everything I learned was not actually used, right? So I have to start all over again. And that is, the fate of some people out there right now. So thank God companies like Old School Africa are providing alternative to this, right? But I still believe there's still a huge opportunity out there that we need to explore to make people's lives better without having to go through all those processes. So yeah, there's an opportunity, and I pray that one day I should be able to make an impact in solving most of those challenges.
Yeah, yeah. And also, I think there's this issue of mindset where well, most people are going into careers that have money as opposed to careers that they want to go into.
Hmm.
And I think a previous guest mentioned that, well, one mentioned that the mindset for Africans, one or two mentioned that the mindset for Africans need to change. And another mentioned that we need to keep educating ourselves. So what would be your contribution to, or what would be your opinion to this mindset of Africans that yes, it's a good mindset that we need to make money to get ourselves out of the problems that we are in, but we also need to do things that we want to do. So how do we bridge the gap between getting ourselves out of poverty or getting ourselves out of problems and doing things that are impacting our countries, continents, our societies as a whole? How do we bridge this gap?
Yeah, the reality lately is that a lot of people are trying to get into tech to make money or to get out of poverty. But
Mm,
they don't realize, most of the people I notice that, within few months in, they realize that this actually huge thing and they quit, right? Because that's not their passion. That's not really
mm,
where they want to go. They are just looking at it as something that they want to do and, you know, kind of like make money and move forward with their life. But that's not the right way to do it. The right way for you to do it is to follow your passion. What are you really good at? What can you think you can do different? Once you're able to like do these things and perfect it well, money will follow. That's just the truth, right? But I would suggest that we keep like the previous guest said, we need to educate ourselves. We need to learn more. We need to know the difference between making money and what it's like to really do something, or what it's like to really follow your passion and do something really different. So yeah, I support those opinions.
yeah, yeah. And in your opinion, what do you think will be the biggest two, one or three things that can help solve for unemployment across Africa?
Yeah, I think one of the major things is education. We are still far behind in terms of education. And education I'm talking about is not about going to school. No, it's about
Mm,
learning how things actually work in the real world. Once you're able to understand this and you're able to apply it, I think a lot of our problem in Africa will be solved, right? Even including those poverty that we are facing, right? So look at China, look at other countries. You don't really have to go to school. You just have some, you need skills, right? What you're good at, implement it, and that's just it. So I think education will really help in terms of areas you need to learn things and understand how things work in the world.
yeah, yeah. And what do you think of the imbalance between the amount of raw materials we have as individual countries and collectively as a continent versus the amount of products we are finished or final products that we are producing as a continent? Do you think we should be more producers than we are consumers, or how do we solve for this imbalance?
Africa is really blessed with natural resources, but we have one problem. We don't know how to make use of it.
Mm,
So people from the West are coming
mm,
to come help us learn how to do that. Whereas, if we could have learned or, if they go, I know that, everything is tied back to, should I say, governance, right? If the government could have come together and find way to, upskill people to learn how to, use these mineral resources and make it really, consumable products, will be a producing country, a producing continent than a consuming continent, right? Which, I think we
mm.
still have a long way to go around that area. But Africa should be a producing continent because we have everything needed to be that.
Yeah, yeah. So for this final segment, I'm just going to give you options
Mm.
where I ask you to choose between two things, and then you explain why you made that choice. It's just like
Okay.
a fireside question structure.
Okay.
And so the first question is, would you rather build a successful business or would you rather build a successful career?
Yeah, I'll rather build a successful business. Why? Because,
Yeah.
you know,
Why would you? Yeah.
building a business that impacts people is really a big win for me because you're able to impact not just hundreds, but thousands of people to build a career compared to you building a
Mm,
career. Once you build a successful business, a lot of people are going to benefit from that, right? Not just you alone. But once you build a successful career, just like, oh, your career is growing. Um, the amount of people you could help is much lower than the amount of people you could help if you build a successful business. So yeah, so building a successful business.
Okay. And now that you chose a successful business, would you rather build this business in Nigeria and then scale across Africa, or would you rather build it in, let's say, somewhere abroad, some other country abroad, and then scale it across that continent? For instance, in the UK, and then scale it across Europe.
I'll build in Africa any day, anytime. Look, the opportunity
Mm-hmm.
here is really massive compared to other Western countries like the Europe or anywhere. This is where, we need to build. This is where we need to grow. This is where we need to impact mostly, right? So the opportunity here is massive.
Yeah, yeah. And would you would you go for long-term sustainable change while building wealth for yourself, or would you rather go for short-term personal wealth generation without any impact or any change, bringing any change to your society?
I think I'll go for long term. I'm not
Mm.
selfish, right? I want to build something that will impact people, not just me. That will benefit other people, not just me. So I'll go for long term stuff. I'll go for long term, solutions that are gonna impact people, not just the short term.
So there are two last questions that I'd like to know. The first one
Okay.
is, how do we ensure that we stop this brain drain movement? How do we stop people from Japan, from Nigeria, people from moving from Kenya to other countries? Because in reality, the brightest are the ones that are moving. So how do we stop this movement?
I think our government need to do better. We need to make use
Mm,
of our talents. We need to make use of, you know, we need to create environments where people can thrive, where those talents can thrive. Because there's no environment where those talents can thrive. That is why we're all seeing people running away, trying to make a life for themselves in the other part of the world, right? So I feel like, we need to do better as a country to ensure that
mm,
we keep this talent to build the country of our dream.
yeah. And what's one thing that you'd change about Nigerians and Africans at large?
The moment, uh, it's still kind of like I haven't really figured it out, so I don't want to give wrong answers. So, but I believe I'm gonna figure it out because there are a lot of things, right?
Okay.
But they need to have
Uh-huh.
the roots of, where you can really make sure that you can get to the roots and change everything from the beginning, start afresh.
I must admit that has to be the most mind mind how do you call it? Mind bending answer, because most people can point out one thing, but not everyone can think of it as there's a root cause to the the
Exactly.
many problems. So thank you for that response.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for
Thank you so much.
me and Young and Ambitious in Africa.
Thank you so much for having me
Yeah, it's
here,
been an honor having
Jagger.
this. Yeah, yeah, it's been an honor having this conversation, learning more about Byte. For guys, you can find the. Is it accessible still on Play Store and Apple Store?
Yeah. It's live on Play and Apple. So you can
Awesome.
find
So the
Bytes
link
at
to their website is in the
mixbytes.com.
description.
Yeah.
You can find Byte at. So I'll leave I'll leave the link in the description section below, and also other links to the company and Khalid if you want to talk to him. So I will send you after this. I'll send you a link just to allow the video to finish uploading, because it's taking some time.
Okay, great.
And for you guys that are not for you guys that are not subscribed, do subscribe, like the video, subscribe, share it with your friends, because I think many more businesses and many more people would like to know more about some of the financial solutions that can assist with solving the challenges that Byte is addressing. So share the video, leave your comment below on some of the discussions that we've had, and see you on the next one.
Thank you.